What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. We have quite a bit to get through on today's Market Watch. We have older buyouts that have settled that I've waited to talk about, such as Gemini Imps. We have newer buyouts going pretty crazy. We have cards doing this slow creep up, cards that are tanking, and then suggestions from me to you. So, a lot of cards. Let's go ahead and get into it. Gemini Imps here was an older buyout that started with murmurs from Topologic Gumblar Dragon being able to hit the hand, and Gumblar certainly has proven itself, but this fell short in a couple of reasons that I'm gonna say why. Then the murmurs have started again, and people are asking me about it because there's only two older variants with Danger when it was getting a little more hype. Oh, Dark World Dealings might be played endangered. Oh, Drag Down to the Grave might be played endangered. All these discard cards, Gemini Imps may have its time to shine. There's great clarifying text from a cheaper version of it, from Turbo Pack 8, and it definitely clears up everything that this card does. And I think personally there's some great sales, such as Alt Reality Games, having them at quarters when you buy something else from them, before it quickly does head towards $1 for the common as well. But this falls short for several reasons. I think in their co-linked ways to set up Gumblar, a lot of the times, if this card became popular, you would just see Trigate come up into that co-link. And that's if you didn't already have a hand trap, such as Drone Lockbird, to try to shut their turn down before they got to access something like Gumblar Dragon. So then your opponent also needed to already have not bricked and had the resources to be able to Gumblar. All these things had to go just so right in order for your opponent to be able to go through and get to Gumblar and do it all successfully. And then this had to shine without a Trigate on board. That's what I didn't like personally about this card for Gumblar. And I don't think that Danger necessarily will go the route playing those cards that were mentioned. Dark World Dealings, Drag Down. I personally am a fan of the Phantom Sky Blaster and using the Sky Striker engine with Allures and the synergy there in the deck to make Tomahawk with Destroido. I'm more of a fan of that. Phantom Knight's Sword here was completely bought out. Alright, we got a $5-6 one almost. Over here, is that mixtape collectibles? Yo, check my mixtape, free mixtape when you buy a card, am I right? But seriously, Phantom Knight's Sword was one of the cards not reprinted over in our Battles of Legend pack here. And I think this is a little bit preemptive. We've got that structure deck coming out, and while this is objectively the better card for stun, because a 2000 attack Fossil Dyna is much scarier than a 1700 if you're playing Phantom Knight Wings, I still don't know that Phantom Knights / maybe even a Cherubini deck would be concentrating on a card like this, and we do see from Canada available at $266 before similarly high prices, $4, etc. on eBay. Oh, do I not have this in order? Well, it might just be cheap available. Yeah, $3-ish. Still more than it was. It was all the way down from $1 after its initial buyout that I showed you guys a while back, where it was at $2. And that seemed crazy. So just wait for the structure deck. If it's not in there, then press the panic button like it is now, but do be aware that's on the horizon. Destroido, the Lost Dragons Frisian. Alright, Destroido's done a slow creep up. We see 650. It actually was a low of 4 last night, about here, and we see one person listing 1. So I've noticed it's doing the slow creep up on TCG Player. It's still relatively easy to get over here, $3, 3x. For the super rare, and of course there's the rare also. But like I was just saying, big brain plays over in your Danger decks. Grepher will often be pitching this. You'll be going into a level 7 Synchro, and then alongside Nessie, Grepher plus Nessie, or I believe Grepher plus Jackalope, equals your plays on into Galaxy Tomahawk, and then you can just go crazy. So I'm personally a pretty big fan of Destroido in that deck, and if you think Danger is going places that might still be playing Grepher in the future, you should probably pick up Destroido now, in case we do get to keep one Destroido boy. And a good level 7 Synchro to go into that is super cheap, just on my suggestions right here. It's one of its cheapest prices ever. F.A. Don Dragster, there's no way a generic negate Synchro level 7 doesn't get good kid at some point. So you might want to go ahead and just have a playset or 2, or even at least 1, because I would be playing 1 personally in my Danger deck. But a playset's always safe, right? You might want to go ahead and get that for your extra deck, because I think there's some point it's going to be in the meta, and it's from Flood, so it's not going to see a reprint for at least a year. We still don't have our Megatons this year, so it's unlikely to get reprinted within a year, unless it gets like a super rare in an OTS pack or something. Drollin Lockbird. A lot of people are saying, what do I do now, John? Do I wait for the ban list? The competitive season's coming up. The 200 type has started. I don't know that it will end up on an FNL list. I feel like Reincarnations will likely hit before that. This is a card that does stop the entire turn, though. Ban lists are always speculation. If you think you'll be playing this at the 200th, I would try to wait for the FNL list. I don't think it'll go up much from here, but we have seen it towards 25, so there's a huge difference in like under 60 for a playset versus 75 for a playset. It really just comes down to how scared are you of it not being hit on an FNL list, which, let's face it, that's likely, and do you need it for the 200th or the regional season coming up? So it does just come down to that. We're not getting into the structure. It's unlikely we'll see it reprinted somewhere else. It's already had an OTS super reprint. It is what it is. It's not in our structure deck. That structure deck's still pretty good, though, for a lot of the reprints it has. World Legacy Secession stabling out above $8. Wow, and around the $8 mark on eBay, too. This card has really shocked me. It was undervalued to start. Let's get that out of the way. At around, you could pick these up for dollars for a while. Definitely just undervalued, and now we're seeing it really even out. I believe it sees play in Crusadia. The Mech Knight Link can search it. There's plenty of places that you can fit it in as an extender because it summons the monster to any zone a Link monster points to. No restriction on like defense, effect negation, etc. Just a great extender play. Yeah, it was undervalued by far. So we'll see how realistic it gets played in the meta. What are you guys thinking you'll play this in besides some more roguish decks? Will this find a home in Tier 1 or Tier 1.5 as the ban list comes forward? Next up, something I've noticed that's been slow creeping up. Tsukiyomi. I really thought the power of GOAT format had taken a backseat, but of course there's the collector's market. This is an old ultimate rare, very nostalgic. We are seeing it head towards the $20 mark here in 1888 before it quickly just disappears off the face of eBay. Only 4 copies. So my suggestion is, if you've been waiting off on this card, it's better to get it sooner than later because they are all disappearing right now. So get yours before it's gone. If you've been holding off boiling out your GOAT deck and you've had your eye on this, it's going. The quantities are almost gone before who knows where it'll settle next, 25, 30, etc. So it's 4 results on eBay. That's actually pretty crazy to me. Ultimate Rare Maxi, talking about that ban list speculation, still holding a crazy price of around 89. Its sales are relatively slow. That's why you see its market price here at 70. Usually that goes off. But if we go to the sold listings, sold listings, and did recently, find your English, John, on eBay, we see 73, 82, 95 best offer accepted, 91, 95, 81, all over the place between the 80s and 90s. That's pretty crazy for completed. And if we click off that and sort to price plus shipping lowest first, we see lowest are like 84 light play, and don't see the words near mint there. Near mint, 87. So if this did peel off the ban list somehow, especially the 3 like the OCG, you could easily see this being 150. It's just it's a really high price for a speculation card, though. It never really did dip that back down towards its initial fall price, though. When it initially got banned, I think this fell towards 60, maybe a little under, but then immediately it feels like it's been holding price. But I guess on TCG Player, perhaps not the best of sales rates overall. Bountiful Artemis has bottomed out to its lowest point ever, so if you want counter fairies for a Funzy deck and you want to hollow it out, and you're not trying to spend on that DR4 super rare, you have plenty of options under the $10 mark right now. And hey, JRB Jobber, if you want to support a great creator on the platform right here, with one left on eBay before it's almost double its price out here. So a couple deals on Artemis if you've been holding off. You might want to go get those. I have conflicted feelings on Pot of Duality. We are the Duality. But it was mainly upped because of play in True Dracos. I believe it was sitting around 30 forever. True Dracos happened. People wanted the ultis, and it's set around between 50 and 60 for the longest, and now it's back towards its lower side of 50 from there. My opinion is I would sell this now, even though it's such an iconic card, even though its original secret rare used to be 125 in its meta. I could see this slowly falling back down towards 30. MST right now, for example, has fast fallen. Let's actually look at that. Mystical Space Typhoon is a card I wanted to talk about and didn't pull up for you guys. But look at this. It's fast fallen. Remember, it was bought back out to 50, and I just felt like there's never a good time to necessarily have MST hold the value above this unless it's like in more decks than just one. Yeah, it's back towards 30. So I feel like over time the quantities of dualities will slowly fall towards that if it doesn't see play in a metagame deck such as a dominant deck like True Dracos. Even despite it being iconic, despite it being such a good card, I do feel that it will fall. So my suggestion right now would be to sell yours. But if you're in the market, do know that they're cheaper than they have been in the past as well. And finally, a card that's going to be tanking thanks to the structure deck is Duality, holding a high price for a while. All that hype, and we already see it down towards $7. Do be aware this is a common in the structure deck coming up. And then Phantom Skyblaster will also be a common, but I don't think that's going to affect the holo variants too much. The secret rare is really nice, kind of hard to get from Legendary Collection GX, and we see it sitting, 15-ish. The DTs are down versus their market price. They're a lower rarity. Ultra rares, its original rarity. But these commons, I think, will be getting real cheap, and that's why you suddenly see people unloading huge amounts of them. Shoutouts to them, though, like, having this many, but the common's definitely going to tank down at least towards $1, if not lower. But we'll see these other variants. These, I don't know that it'll have an effect. It's not like they're that high because there's not Phantom Skyblasters available. It's because people love hollowing out their deck. So there's today's Market Watch. Hopefully you enjoyed this yourself. Sorry, it's been a long day. I woke up real early, but hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the discussion. And what do you guys think of some of these buyouts, some of these slow creeps, some of these deals here during the off season? I think it's definitely a great time to go ahead and get a few things and pick them up right before the megatons are dropping. Things that, necessarily won't be in there.